today I'm really excited about today because I've got a guy that I've known for long time.
I'm dating us, Coach. I'm dating us.
And you know what, Tracy, what I like the most is that you're still,
You know, like I know, I may have been a good person, but
people understand how hard that is to do in a high school basketball game, in a 32-minute game.
our practices, Coach, were harder than our games. You guys provided that zoo atmosphere.
And as soon as you struggle, the answer isn't just to get better. The answer is
Everybody's so stuck on the mistake that they don't move on. And I'm on my girls about that a lot too, my daughters, because
all right, welcome back. This is the Coach Mark Gottfried Show, and today I'm really excited about today because I've got a guy that I've known for long time. I had the opportunity to coach him when I was at UCLA. He's one of the all-time great players at UCLA. That's saying a lot. And not only is a great player, played a great career in the NBA, but just a great person. Welcome in Tracy Murray. How are you, Tracy?
I'm good, Coach. Thanks for having me on your show, man.
I'm so excited, Tracy. And I want people to get an idea a little bit and understanding that, when you were in high school, and we'll talk about all this a little bit on the show, but Tracy led the nation in scoring, I think about 44, 45 a game. I think had 66 in a high school game, which is, if people understand how hard that is to do in a high school basketball game, in a 32-minute game. But was recruited by everybody in the country, came to UCLA, had a spectacular career, one of the best scorers I've ever coached, ever been around, and had a great career in the NBA and played for a number of different franchises, the Wizards, the Raptors, the Rockets, the Trailblazers, but also scored 50 in a NBA basketball game. But just a magnificent player. And you know what, Tracy, what I like the most is that you're still involved at UCLA. And that means a lot to everybody. It means a lot to me, it means a lot to everybody around. And so I love the fact that you're doing that. Tell me a little bit about it, and do you love it? Do you enjoy it?
I love it, Coach. To be around UCLA after all of these years. I'm on my 17th year as a radio analyst on the radio for them, and yeah, a long time. I'm dating us, Coach. I'm dating us. But at the end of the day, to be back with that great tradition, a great school where I had the best 3 years of my life at. I was growing from a young man to a man. There's a lot of experiences. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of things that you take along with you for the rest of your life in that span of college, because now, the training wheels are off. You don't have that choke chain from your parents anymore. You got to make your own decisions. You got to learn. Discipline has got to be at the top of it. And like I know, I may have been a good person, but I lacked discipline at times because I was young. I was 17 years old coming into UCLA. And, I was very much a homebody. If I wasn't at home, I was at the gym. And then I'll go right back home. I didn't really hang out. My social skills was a little bit off. So, I was like a big basketball nerd without the grades. So I had to learn a lot. And that's why I would like to personally thank you on here, because I was a discipline problem at times, and I was hard to deal with sometimes. And you were there, and sometimes you had a hard time with me, and I'm just here to apologize for you to you, because at the end of the day, we're trying to learn. We get frustrated at times, but your way is right. You're the coach, and we're trying to learn how to do it the right way. And we all come from situations where we were the guy. And then now you got to come where everybody was the guy at, and you got to try to fit yourself within a puzzle. And thank you for being patient with me, because I know I was sometimes hard to deal with, because when you come from a 44-point game situation, you feel like I'm the guy.
Mm-hmm.
but you got to come back. You got to come home, and you got to be a part of a puzzle that's going to win. So I appreciate you,
Tracy,
Coach.
well, you don't need to apologize. I loved coaching you, and everybody has different personalities, and that's part of coaching. And you're just trying to help, young guys. But I want to ask you this question, Tracy, because I tell people this all the time. I was at UCLA 7 years as an assistant coach, and I've always told people it's one of the great institutions in the country.
Yes.
But what I liked about UCLA, and I coached at Alabama and Murray State and NC State and all that. I've been around. But UCLA, it seemed to me that the school, the diversity of the school, the leadership of the school, who you're kind of running around with, your friends, on the team, off the team, it just produces a great graduate. Like the guys, like all your guys, all in your era, the Mitchell Butlers and Gerald Madkinses and all our guys, Don McLean's, all those guys, the school produces just such a great individual.
Yes.
And I don't know if you agree with that, but why do you think that is? Because I do think it does that. It's an amazing place.
I think especially, in our era and right after our era, I think the school recruited families. They checked the whole background of them. It wasn't just, okay, he's a great player, we're going after him, not knowing if he comes from good people or not. You guys recruited good people that could play, that were great students. I may not have been a great student, but I worked at it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you knew that you can coach everybody because we weren't left field. You know what I mean?
Right.
We weren't so gone to where we couldn't listen and be coachable and learn and go hard and buy into team. It takes families to understand what your kid is getting into. It takes dads and leaders of the family to say, that's your coach. I'm done. Listen to him. And it takes that type of discipline to come to a UCLA. UCLA is a real school. It's not you just coming here to hoop and that's it. You got to get the grades. You remember my problems my freshman year. It's like I'm listening to Pooh Richardson tell me, don't worry about it. They'll take care of you. No, you got to take care of yourself. You got to do the work. The problem for me wasn't going to class. The problem for me was staying awake in class because I was doing too much hooting with the owls. I was doing too much, so I had to figure that part out as a freshman.
Tracy, when you came in, we were so excited that you were coming. And one thing we knew right off the bat, and we loved your family and your mom and your dad and your brother. And like you said, just great family. We knew all that was good. All that was going to take place. But your ability to score the ball, and I want to make sure everybody understands what I'm talking about here, because this is important. Like in basketball, some guys can shoot the three. Some guys are good post-up players. Some guys are great slashers and drivers. Everybody has a different game. But Tracy, you probably, and you and I've talked about this. I had T.J. Warren at NC State who could score. He could score in his sleep. He knew where the ball was going before anybody else knew where to go. But you were that way. You were probably the best scorer. Period. All around score. That means you're making the three. You're making the elbow shot. You're making a short baseline shot. You're making a bank shot from the you're scoring in the break. You're making your foul. Like all of those things, which is not everybody can do that. Not everybody can. Where did all that come from for you? Just those instincts that you had as a scorer.
I think it came from playing against older people, especially with my family. My dad played for a very long time. My uncles played. I used to go to the Crenshaw Run, Shoot, and Jump League, the Joe Weekly League back in the day, and I used to watch my dad play with Norm Nixon, Marcus Johnson, Reggie Theus, Michael Cooper, Michael Wiley. I got to see all of these guys, Larry Hollyfield. I got to see all of these guys up front and personal, and I was just soaking it all in. And then when I was old enough to play, like 11 and 12 years old, I would be on my dad's adult league team. So listening in the huddle, going out there playing with those guys, learning how to bump, learning how to get my shot off in certain situations. I always could shoot. I learned how to counter off of my shot early. So now, you fast forward it to the high school and the 31 a game as a junior, 44 as a senior. The game was easy because I've been playing against adults my whole life. Strong, athletic, slower, bullies, all kinds of basketball players. So now I know how to get a floater off on somebody that's quicker off the ground. I know how to ball fake, get people in the air, step through and lay. Post moves, I know how to, if they give me a certain area, I know how to counter it if they take it away. I learned all of this because of playing with experienced players as a youngster.
You had the ability too, Tracy. Like if you went into the inside and shot it, you almost knew, you kind of knew ahead of time, okay, that's not going in, but I know where it's going to go. I've already anticipated where the ball is going to, and I'll go get it before anybody else has a chance to get it. Like you had, like that's like a skill in basketball. A lot of people don't realize how amazing that is. Like, some guys might go in there and miss a shot. If you missed it, you already tipped it in before anybody else could get there. It just was an unbelievable, and that carried over for you also into the NBA. You had that ability, and as a pro too, to do that as well.
Well, offensive rebounding became a strength because I played when you make your first transition into AAU or travel ball or whatever, you're a new guy on the team. They're not running any plays for you. I was the best shooter on the team, but I was the biggest guy. So that's where I learned how to post up. Coach Joe Dunn, that was at Bell Jeff back in the day. He was our AAU coach, and he coached Mitchell Butler. He coached Nick Sanderson and Adonis Jordan and a few of us. So, but when we were that young, you learn the basic fundamentals and footwork of certain things. And I complained to my dad one day during a tournament, and I was like, they're never passing me the ball. And he said, man, you're the biggest guy on the team. Get your big butt on that offensive boards. So that's what taught me to go get it. And then once I started going to get it, I learned how to score without being in the play. And that's how that offensive rebound knack of the nose for the ball came into play.
Hey, folks, this is Mark Gottfried, and I'm excited to tell you about Torque Sports, the free app that's revolutionizing how young athletes chase their dreams. I trust Torque 100% and stand behind its mission to empower the next generation. Players, post your highlights and get noticed by scouts and college coaches. And coaches, build your program, share your knowledge, and track your players. Download Torque Sports now. We used to we used to run after a made basket, just to kind of make sure people understand this one too. We'd run our fast break in a way, and we had a pretty good player in Don McClain who could score the ball as well back then, and Mitchell Butler and some other guys. But we like you to take the ball out and inbound it, and as you came down the court, you would trail, and we'd throw it back to you at the top of the key, and you'd shoot it, and hell, you'd make it just about every time. But teams that scouted you, they started picking you up a little. They said, we're not going to let Tracy shoot that top of the key jump shot. And they'd pick you up a little farther and a little farther, where you would stop farther away from the basket, and you'd still catch it, and you'd still shoot it and make it. It was unbelievable. I used to tell people all the time, even when I became a head coach, I want somebody to take the ball out and trail in the break, just like Tracy Murray did. Period. End of story. That's what I wanted, because you did that so well. You remember that?
Yeah. Well, Coach, you're a shooter, and Coach Herrick is, he's had so many guys with different skills and guys that can shoot. It's like you always want to put them in a position to help the team, succeed individually and help the team. So we'll run some down screens for you to come off and knock down your shots, because you can shoot that thing, and then you know how to counter how they play you. So coach would put you in a position to do that. And with me, he knew that there were big guys guarding me. So the natural instinct is to run to the paint. So it was the perfect thing to take it out and trail, because guys was off to the races. Make or miss, we were gone. Butler on the wing, Gerald on the wing, Martin or Edney in the middle, and they're just pushing. Sometimes I had to run fast just to catch up because those two were gone. And, you know, you had to get back on defense. You had to go back and stop the ball in the paint first, which was a perfect thing for me to trail and knock that shot down. And when it comes to my range, that's just years and years of horse games. You know, just learn, you know, once you master something, you try something else. And then once you master this area, you move back a little bit further. And that's my whole shooting in a nutshell. You know, you master something, then you go to the next level with it.
Tracy, talk about this one. So we had great moments. And we had great wins, especially I can remember our games against Arizona, man. You talk about pros now. They had pros. We had pros. There was pros on the court, like a lot of pros, not a couple pros, like good players, like really good. And they were always ranked in the top 10 in the country. We were ranked in the top 10 in the country. We'd go over there and we beat them when they had their 72-game winning streak. You had an amazing shot in the corner. I remember like yesterday. I can remember it like yesterday. And you knocked down that shot, and we had some amazing moments. But I'm going to ask you this one. We also had a couple tough ones.
Yes.
And I know one loss for me that still stings. It's still, after all these years, because we had such a great team, I believed we were going to go to the Final Four. We were going to make it to the Final Four.
I know what you're talking about. It kills me to this day.
So we had one game. Tell me, just that one hurt. That one hurt us and hurt all of us. And talk about, because I maybe ask you, I guess, was that as disappointing? Because it was for me, because I thought we were going to Final Four that year.
It was extremely disappointing. It was so disappointing. It was like there was no words, man. There was no words for that. And it wasn't like we gave a great effort and lost. We got the doors, beat off of us. And we beat them early in the year, the first game of the season. We beat them pretty good. They remembered that. They made some adjustments. They put Madden over on Don McLean to beat him up. They put Allen Henderson on me to beat me up. They put bigger people on us, bigger, stronger people. I had Calvert Chaney on me the first time. Don had Allen Henderson on him the first time. We were able to take advantage of that. Now, you change the matchups. They denied a high post pass. They denied the swing pass. They kept the ball on one side. And it's just us as players, it's like we were just shell-shocked. Yeah. We didn't know what to do from that point. And we didn't adjust. And they just kept going. They just kept going on us and wouldn't look back. And they had some great players, man. Indiana had some great players. They had Calvert Chaney. They had Allen Henderson. They had Eric
Anderson.
Eric Anderson. God rest his soul. Damon Bailey, Greg Graham. These are NBA guys, NBA players. They were loaded too, and they had pride too. And Bobby Knight, great coach, man, great coach. You think he wasn't going to have them motivated and prepared for us? He was prepared, man. And I think sometimes us as players, we know what we did the first time, and we think we're going to do it again. And I don't think we were all 100% locked in. And intense and ready to go. I think we were, I just think we were just in la-la land for the first half of the game, and it was over by the first half. Yeah,
it was. And to set the story up so people know, we played Indiana in the Tip-Off Classic in Hall of Fame Classic, I think it was, in Springfield, Massachusetts. And it was the opening game of the season, nationally televised, and we just absolutely beat the drawers off Indiana. I mean, we beat them like a drum. I mean, it was a bad beating. And I was told years later, that entire season, all Bobby Knight did, all he did, anytime that team played poorly, he referenced the game against UCLA as the opener and how bad they were playing and how disappointing and blah, blah, blah. And so the fact that we had to play that team, that if we played anybody else, I think we're in the Final Four. We had to play that team in the Elite Eight. I think it was in was it in Albuquerque?
Albuquerque,
New
Mexico.
And other than that team, I think that you play in a Final Four, and I think we have a great chance to win the national championship. That's what I believe, because we were good. Like, we were
Yep.
really good. And we just, sometimes in the tournament, it just comes down to a matchup. And that just wasn't our matchup. It wasn't our day that day. That was a tough one.
And North Carolina won it that year. Give us North Carolina instead of Indiana, and I think we win it.
Yeah.
You know, it's no disrespect to them. I just think if the matchup was different, if it wasn't somebody that was extremely prepared for us, and we played them before, it's hard to beat Bobby Knight twice in a year. You know, he's going to make sure those guys are prepared. The guys are going to be motivated. They done pulled out the whips and all of that stuff. You remember that? Whipping Calvert and those guys. It's like they pulled so many mental. They played so many mental games with those guys. They were ready.
Yeah,
they were ready.
Yeah. Tracy, tell me about how it was for you to play. And we're going to get on to your NBA career just in a second, but I still want to go to UCLA. I remember back, and it breaks my heart that the Pac-12, and it was the Pac-10, and now the Pac-12, and then now there's really no Pac-12. But that league at that time for the western part of the country, you know, west of the Mississippi, it was special. And when you played, I mean, I can remember, you know, games against Arizona, and they all stand out, you know, Arizona State, and we had to Oregon. I mean, they were great teams and great, you know, and Stanford and Cal, but our games with Arizona were as much fun. They were hard, but as much fun as anything I was ever involved in. And I've had teams go into Durham at Duke and win, and I've taken teams into North Carolina and won. But our games with Arizona, they were unbelievable. Unbelievable. And for you to play in those games, like how fun and how amazing when you look back on it, because we don't have that anymore. Those days are done.
Yeah, especially in a home-and-home situation, you know, that's done. We're never going to be at their place anymore. They're never going to be at Poly anymore. I'm still disappointed. I'm still upset. I've been vocal about it, not liking it, the change. But I'm not playing. The school needed the money, I guess. You know, maybe they thought this was the best move. But that rivalry, we play once every year in a neutral site. It's not the same. That rivalry, they talk about Duke and North Carolina, right? And you know, rightfully so. They have their, you know, ESPN 30 for 30. We should have ours. Ours was a war too. And that war started when Lute Olson got there, before we got there. That war started when John Edgar was there, Anthony Cook, you know, Sean Elliott joined them. That's when it started. Like, it was crazy how much talent was on the floor between the two teams. And everybody knew each other. Everybody was either teammates in high school AAU, or they were playing for the rival. So everybody knew each other. So it was personal pride with everybody. I'm not trying to hear this dude when he come home in the summertime, or they're not trying to hear us when they come home in the summertime. It was war. We competed. Both coaches competed. You got your coaching staff against Lute Olson's coaching staff. It was almost like you guys was lining up too. I'm gonna outcoach you. I'm gonna outcoach you, and I'm gonna outcoach you. And we're gonna outplay you. We're gonna win this war. It was battles. It was physical because they're bigs. Rooks, Brian Williams, Ed Stokes, 7-footers that were talented. They can move, and they were extremely physical. They will put you on your back coming in there. And you look on our side, we had some players. Don, Derek, Martin, Mitchell Butler. My freshman year, Trevor Wilson. My sophomore year, you know, I move up into the area, and then you had Rodney Zimmerman come in as a block, a big now, so I can move to the wing. Mitchell even played the big sometimes when we went small. Gerald competed, and he was, to come back from a scooter accident, the moped accident, where you break your pelvis in 6 places, to come back and be an NBA player was unbelievable for Gerald Matkins. Keith Owens was a walk-on that became an NBA player. Like our practices, coach, were harder than our games. You guys provided that zoo atmosphere, animalistic. I don't care if it was the rebounding drill. I don't care if it was the positions, the one-on-one drills. You know, like personal pride. There were dudes fighting in practice. You know, it's like Don's competitive. Don don't like losing. I'm competitive. I don't like Zan Mason's competitive. Didn't like losing. Mitchell Butler, Sean Tarver, and Gerald Mackins was at the same basket. Come on, man. They were beating the hell out of each other. But iron sharpens iron. And I'm pretty sure Arizona did the same thing. Because when we all got together, it was fireworks.
Unbelievable games.
Unbelievable.
And a lot of people don't realize, they don't realize, Tracy, that I think it was your junior year. I got to get this right. You're going to know this more than I do. I think your junior year, because it was your last year. I think that's the year we possibly we were going to have Ed O'Bannon. Is that the year he tore his knee? And so we could have lined up
sophomore year because Ed was a year behind me, and then he tore it that summer.
That's right.
And then he tried to work his way back, but couldn't really do it. So he had to take he had a red shirt and a medical red shirt, right?
Yep.
Which put him like 2 years behind me, where he would have been the year behind, or he took the 1 year and then I left early. That's what put it 2 years. So Ed, before his knee surgery, and people if they don't look back at the McDonald's games, or he was National Player of the Year in '95 after the knee surgery. This dude was a different monster before the surgery. Different monster. Dude was crazy athletic. He ran the floor like a deer. He would dunk on you from the free throw line. He would jump over the top of you for his left-hand jump hook. You couldn't get to it. Left-handed. And he's left-handed. That's handle the ball. Extremely good shape. Like stronger than he looked. Incredible player. Unselfish. Knew how to play the game. So it took him a while to become Ed O'Bannon again. And he may not have had that pop that he used to have. That athleticism where he just boop, and he just flies through the air and you can't get to him. He had all of this over the rim. He was a different animal before that surgery. Now he still had his opportunity, still got to the league, but if he was healthy and didn't have that, he would have been in that league 13, 14 years, man.
Oh, no doubt. And we could have had all three of you guys together with you and him and Don McLean. How about those three scoring the ball around the bucket and everywhere on the floor?
My goodness.
Take those three.
Goodness.
Well, Tracy, talk to me a little bit about, you had a great career in the NBA. The NBA is a business. You got traded number 2 or 3 times, from team to team. But you always found a way, I always say the cream rises to the top. You always kind of found a way, whichever team you were on, and to be a major contributor, major factor. And I say this a lot where guys sometimes get in the NBA, but they don't know how to stay in the NBA. They don't have staying power. They don't understand how to be a pro. Where you did a great job, even though you got traded, you go from one organization to another organization, you always kept figuring out, okay, to be a pro, to last, to do well on this team, and, I've got to do these things. And I was always proud of you for that, because some guys can't. It doesn't work for them that way. And so talk about that a little bit. Like, I think that's a skill that some guys in the league don't always have. They don't learn how to be pros.
Right. And not to mention I came in at 20 years old. So I didn't have everything figured out. When I came into the draft, and you know this, Coach, I wasn't the greatest defender. Lateral speed I didn't really have. I would get deflections and block shots because of my length, steals and stuff. Length and brain. I know how to do certain things. But to sit in front of somebody and guard, I never really guarded perimeter guys until I got to the NBA. I would always play either the power forward guy or I would
Mm-hmm.
guard the centers in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So to come into the NBA and to be thrown in the fire and guard people like Clyde Drexler in practice, Jerome Kersey, Terry Porter, Mario Elie, Clifford Robinson. This is my rookie year. You know, offensively, I'm fine. Defensively, the struggle is real. I'm guarding. Cliff was a six-man of the year. Clyde, Dream Teamer, just came off the Dream Team, a Hall of Famer. Jerome Kersey was one of the hardest working dudes on that court that he would run through you, around you, over you, however way. I can't tell you how many times I ended up on the ground my rookie year. Jerome Kersey was 245 and he was like country strong. God rest his soul. But it's like I had to learn how to guard, Coach. And yeah, we had the Lavin drill at the end and everything. We learned how to move a little bit and got in better condition and stuff like that. But I've never sat down. I don't even remember playing too many one-on-one games where I would just sit down and go and make them miss. They would just miss and I would rebound. I didn't make them miss, And so the first 3 years of sitting on that bench, I sat for my rookie year. The second year, guys were getting hurt a little bit. I played a little bit more, led the league in threes. Coaching change happens halfway through my second year. No, at the beginning of my third year. I'm sorry. PJ comes in with Rick Carlisle's assistant, Dick Harder. Good coaching staff. And Clyde and I we get traded to Houston. So they're looking for a shot in the arm. They won the year before. They're still out there celebrating the championship, and they're halfway through the season, and they're not going to make the playoffs. So they needed a shot in the arm. Clyde was that shot in the arm. The trade was really for Clyde. Clyde was coming home, 5 Slammer Jammer reunion with him and Hakeem, and he was like a 20-year-old again. I've never seen Clyde run and jump like that since he was in his heyday. And he found that youthful spirit again for another few years down there in Houston. But that year was special they didn't have time for me to be involved in that. And by that, so I sat there in a suit and watched him win a championship, which ended up being my motivation and burning desire for the rest of my career because I wanted to be involved in that. And, there's politics in the game. There's money, there's politics. People come overseas. They got guarantees where you never put them on the injured list. So that's why I ended up on the injured list. So when I went to work that summer, I stayed around. We did the appearances and all of that, But even though I was part of it and I was valuable in practices, I didn't feel like I was part of it. So I came home and I worked like I wasn't part of it. The blessing for me, no one was knocking on my door. I was a free agent. No one was knocking on my door. The blessing for me is in comes Vancouver, in comes Toronto. I might have been overseas coaching. You may not have heard from me again. And the expansion draft happens. Houston protects me because they said they were going to bring me back. And, give me a little shot and see how it works because the way I was playing in practice during the playoffs. So they decided to change directions on what they want to do after the expansion draft. They went and got older. They went and got Barkley, Pippen, Eddie Johnson. Okay, we're no longer dealing with you. So I'm stuck. The team is set up in Toronto and Vancouver, and I'm sitting at home, working my ass off, waiting for an opportunity. Fred Slaughter was my agent at the time, and he's trying to get me more money. And I told Fred, this is not about money. This is about staying in the league and getting another opportunity. So we turned down a lot of stuff, and he thought he can pull some money out of the expansions, but the expansions was only on a half a salary cap. They didn't want them to progress like Orlando, Charlotte at the time, Miami. They got up there pretty quickly to the playoffs. They wanted to kind of bring the expansions on a little bit slower. So they have half a salary cap. There's no more money there. The only thing that's left to fill the slot that's left to fill is a minimum. So I said, I don't care. Give me Isaiah Thomas's number. Let me hear from him. And that's what he told me. He's like, T, we have nothing left, but I got minutes, opportunity, and shots for you if you want to come up here and reestablish yourself. I said, send me a plane ticket. I bet on myself. I was ready to go. Coach, you should have seen me in training camp. I outran everybody. I out-hustled everybody. There was only probably one person that out-hustled, outworked me. And that's why we nicknamed him the Raptor. And that was Alvin Robertson. Unbelievable. 36 years old, fresh off of a back surgery, was retired for like 2 years laid up because of his back. Outworked everybody. And we like, that's the example of how we starting an organization. That's the example of what we need to play like. So all of us, there was accountability on the team. We all loved being around each other. I showed up there. The game was on Saturday against New Jersey. I probably showed up there on a Wednesday or Thursday. So I had like 3 days to make it happen. And I made the team, got some minutes in the first game, played pretty well, got to play against Ed. He was with Jersey at the time. We won the game. We won the first game in history. Then we went on through the year. We beat Seattle, who was in the finals. The 72-10 Bulls, we beat them, and I ended up reestablishing myself as an NBA player and got a nice deal to help my family.
What a great story, Tracy. That just shows kind of how resilient you were. And you end up having a great run. Like I mentioned, had 50 in a game, which was crazy. And I thought you kind of became who you are. You became the Tracy Murray that I knew, later in your years there. Tracy, let's switch gears a little bit. I want to ask your opinion on this because you're involved, you're around it. You do the radio for UCLA. And so you're around the college game now. You played it, had a great career in the NBA, great college career, phenomenal career. And you know me now. I've always all you guys should have been getting paid, some money in college. And
you too.
My biggest, way back with me, but my biggest gripe was, the NCAA tournament makes, over $1 billion a year, and they don't share that with the kids, with you guys, and you're the ones playing. And so the fact that student athletes can now make money, I like it. I'm good. I'm all in with all that. But there are some downsides with the portal and guys wanting to transfer every year, and they can transfer every year without sitting out. So there's some great things about it. But I'd like to know your opinion on maybe what are some of the downsides, maybe with the portal, and what do you see because you're close to it as far as maybe that doesn't sit well with you in this whole kind of new landscape of portal and NIL and all that stuff?
So the great Ed O'Bannon put his reputation on the line for everybody to get paid, which was a good thing.
Well said.
I don't think he envisioned it happening like this. There's no rules. It's the wild, wild west. No loyalty, no respect. Get the money, forget the game. Load management. It turned into the NBA. And no shade on the NBA. They played 2-3 times more games than college. Guys don't value games anymore. They don't work hard in practices. It's almost like they make this money now, and they make more money than some of the coaches. It's like, all right, I get to sit back now until time to play. And then when they go out there and play, they think playing time is just given to them. They don't even earn it anymore. I've seen it in practices. I watched it in games. I've been calling this since this has happened. And there's been a major drop off in effort, accountability, pride in winning, teamwork. The whole college experience that we had is no longer there. it's they don't know what they're missing. Like, I thought we all should have been paid something. I mean, we were on trading cards, posters, advertisements, all of that, right? But I think if you get nothing and then give everybody the same thing and maybe give the extras to maybe the top 3 guys that earn it, that makes more sense. But there are guys getting paid astronomical numbers, and I'm not mad at what they're getting.
Nope.
But damn it, go earn it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go earn it. Go show that you're worth whatever money that you get. There's nobody having that pride that I am worth that money, or I still love the game and I'm putting in the extra work to get better, because a lot of these guys are fumbling the big payday now because they're trying to stick around and get this quick money. What I don't like right now is guys that are played in the NBA or guys that's played in the summer league or been in the G League are now coming back to college. You made your decision. You decided you didn't want to play here. But now, and then the school is school. It's school. You got to go to class. You got to go to school for school first. You got to be at UCLA. We're student athletes.
That's
student
right.
first.
That's right.
They're going to school to play basketball. They're going for the money and to play basketball. They're not going to be a student. And they're bouncing around from year to year, team to team. It's how can fans follow, support any teams? How can coaches get used to who they're going to coach? How can players get any type of chemistry or camaraderie with anybody if you're playing with different teammates every year and you don't know the guys that you're playing with from year to year? Like, our guys were close. We laughed, we joked with each other, we knew each other's parents, we've been knowing each other for years. Like, yeah, I mean, we have 1 or 2 transfer away, but they didn't go to another school after they went to that school. It might have been 1 transfer and that was it.
Yeah.
You got guys transferring every year. There are dudes that's been on 4 different teams in 5 years.
No.
It's crazy.
That's not good. That's crazy.
No, not at all.
You know, Tracy, when I was coaching I had a player at NC State one time, and I loved this young guy. And I had him in the starting lineup, and he was a really good shooter, 3-point shooter. He wasn't making shots and really struggling to start the year. And I took him out of the starting lineup, and I remember his mom called me, and she said, I just don't understand. He was in the starting lineup. And I said, well, here's my answer. Tell your son, if he plays better, he'll play more. Just play better. That's all. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of answers. You got to play better. You got to make a shot. And he finally did. He kind of got in a groove. He got back in the lineup. He led the ACC in 3-point shooting for 2 years. But I'm afraid those kids like that are struggling for whatever reason, as soon as you struggle, the answer isn't just to get better. The answer is to call home, call my agent, call somebody, and I'm hunting for a new school. I'm just going to go somewhere else. Because the answer in life, and I don't care what you're doing, in life, you got to play better. You got to be better. You have to be better, and then things will come your way. But I can't always just cut and run. And so you look back in your era, some of the guys, and maybe even you, who knows, but maybe when it's not going your way, it's like, well, maybe I could have gone to this school or that school, or I'll just leave. And I think we're losing that. I think we're losing the ability for these young guys to work through it and then get better and improve rather than just hunting for a different situation. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel strongly that we're losing that with these young guys.
The lack of accountability and the lack of competitiveness, the lack of mental toughness. I coach on the AAU level too with my brother's program. We're seeing it real time. Those kids are the ones that are trying to move up into college. The parents are providing a getaway car for these kids. You can't run from it. You look in the mirror, it's you. You got to get better. You got to learn how to play defense. You got to get in the weight room and get stronger. You got to jump some rope and become a little bit more quicker and athletic. It's all on you. You can't keep running from place to place because it follows you until you address the real problem. And that's what's going on with today's basketball. It's a whole landscape of runners. It's more than just money now. It's people running from a situation where they have to compete. Zan Mason and Mitchell Butler and Rodney Odom signed before I did. Trevor Wilson and Don McClain were there with Darren Daphne and Keith Owens and a few others. And Kevin Walker. Did I run to another school? I committed to come here. And I committed, once I signed on the dotted line, I am coming to compete and take somebody's spot. These kids don't do that anymore. They've been around each other so long that they're friends, and they feel bad for the next person taking this spot, or they don't want to get into they're afraid of confrontation. They don't want to get in confrontations with their teammates. Everybody's happy-go-lucky. Everybody move at their own beat of their own drum, and there's no one that's a leader in the locker room that's going to stand up and be like, hey, man, you going to lock this dude up, or you going to keep letting him score? Hey, man, make the extra pass. Set a solid screen so I can come off and get you to rock. There's no one that's leading anymore. There's a bunch of betas out there. There's no alphas. And
well
the
said.
alphas stick out like a sore thumb. Those are the ones you'd be like, oh, they're really good. That's the alphas. There's not very many anymore. And those are the ones that continue to move up and get a shot. But there's far too many betas nowadays. Far too many.
Yep. Are you seeing this, Tracy? And I know you work with a lot of young people, and your brother does a great job. The Prodigy program, you guys have always it's just you've poured back into young kids, which I love, and says a lot about your family and you and your brother. But are you seeing a little bit that I'm sure the top 50 player in America, the top 20 guy in high school, he's still getting recruited. But there's a lot of kids that because in college I can just take somebody out of the portal. I go get a 22 or 23-year-old guy at your position. I don't have to recruit a high school kid. I don't want to recruit a high school kid anymore.
Right.
But the high school kids seems to me that the kids that aren't in the top 50 or top 100, whatever, those guys who are still good players, and they might end up being great players one day, but they're not getting recruited like they used to be getting recruited because the rules don't favor colleges and taking a high school kid. Are you seeing that a little bit with the kids you work with?
I'm seeing it a lot. You know, the recruiting plans pretty much have changed. You know, you almost have to, excuse me, in our situation where we're independent. We've had the Jordan McLaughlins, we've had the Kessler Edwards, we've had the Jemai Mashaks. You know, we've had those guys that come from an independent program that were loyal, and that stepped up in there and that's done something or been there for a while. We've had those guys. We no longer have those guys because the moving around that happens in college and the accountability and the running away from being coached, running from being held accountable, that happens on that level too. So we've been known for developing our guys, not snatching top guys. We've had guys, you know, try to snatch our guys, but they stayed loyal, you know. We don't get those guys anymore that want to work, tough, loyal. Like these parents, as soon as you light off into them for a second because of something you may have repeated yourself 6 times on, now the parent is mad. The player done tucked his tail and went into the corner and don't know how to play through it. Now, mommy, I don't want to be here anymore. Let's go to the other program. That's what we're dealing with. So our program is not like it used to be. those who are still around and trying to learn, they're going to benefit from it later on. But they are not going to attract the attention of these D1 coaches. They may have to take a different route. And I feel bad for my nephew in this situation because he's of the same mindset of us. He works. He's a sophomore right now. He's skilled. He's playing behind people trying to figure it out. But if you were to say he was a senior right now, he wouldn't be top 100, right? So he would almost have to take either the NAIA route or the D2 route, maybe the JUCO route, to play for a couple of years, attract the attention of them, move up.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like mid-majors, D2, NAI, it's almost like they're a farm team. And there are people doing a good job of identifying talent down here and moving them up. They're stealing from the guys that work down here. They're stealing their best players. That's almost the recipe now. If you're not if McDonald's All-American, the top 50 guy out of high school, that's almost the recipe now. You have to go NAIA, D2, or JUCO, prove that you can play on that level, and try to move up, which forces you to go from school to school to school to school.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
I don't like that. I don't like that, Tracy. I think we're almost conditioning kids when they're juniors in high school. They're already thinking in their mind, okay, I've got to go to this school, then I can play well to go to that school, then I can play well, then I can go to that school.
Right.
And you also think about this, Tracy, like, you know, you go back and just think of, you know, you're a great example. You're at UCLA 3 years. You're now doing radio. You're established at UCLA. The people at UCLA love Tracy Murray, but you're a part of UCLA. You're a part of that family forever. You didn't have to go to three. Like, I worry sometimes these kids go to 3 or 4 schools. Where's your allegiance to one day? Like, or which school has allegiance to you? Like, where do you go one day when you're 30 or 35 or 40 years old? Like, where's your school? And like, you're a great example. You know, UCLA is embedded in you. Like, it's part of you. It's part of who you are. And that makes me sad for these kids too, because I just don't think at the end of the day, some of these young kids, I'm glad they're getting paid and all that. I wish they could transfer one time, maybe without sitting out. Then after that, maybe your coach changes or whatever. Then you got to sit out after that. You can do it once.
Right.
But I worry about what we're producing for later in life with college basketball. That's what worries me too, Tracy. I worry about that for these young kids. They're still kids, just like you said. You were 17 years old when you came into college. I mean, come on. Well, you know, you weren't as mature then as you were at 20 or 24. I mean, come on. You were young, and but you fought through it, and, man, you became a great player. But I just think we're missing that. I just think we're hurting the kids a little bit in that regard. That's my take.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, butt whoopings, what they say, you take a butt whooping on the court, it builds character, right? You lose, it builds character. You have adversity, it builds character. The character building is starting to be missing because these kids are not trying to struggle. They think everything is perfect. And I think these kids play video games a lot. They play situational stuff that they look at these clips online. Everything is perfect. They didn't see the mistakes.
That's a great.
So all of these kids feel like they have to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect in sports, especially basketball. As great as Xavier Booker played last night, he was 10 of 11 for 24 points. He still wasn't perfect. He missed one shot. You know what I mean? It's like, and then you may be perfect one game, and then you might go 0 for 10 the next game. It's just not a perfect game. You're going to make defensive mistakes. You're going to miss a block out. You're going to miss a rotation. It's not a perfect game. And the ones that understand that, they don't only be successful, those who have short memories, shall I say, they're not only successful on the court, they're successful off the court and in life as well. because they understand I'm going to make mistakes, but I can't stay stuck here thinking about it. I got to move to the next and make sure I don't do that again. You know, they don't, everybody's so stuck on the mistake that they don't move on. And I'm on my girls about that a lot too, my daughters, because especially my youngest one, she is so stuck on when she make a mistake, she stop. Don't stop. Now you're making a second mistake. Get back. You throw the ball away. Get back on defense. Sprint back. Try to stop the ball. Stop the layup. Get the rebound. You know, we have so many people that get embarrassed from a mistake. These kids get embarrassed easily. They're not thick-skinned. You got to play in front of 20,000 people that are going to be saying all kinds of things to you. You got to get mentally tough and be able to push through that to play at a high level. Because you're not loved by everybody. In the world of social media, you probably hate it more than you're liked. So you got to figure out how to have a thick skin and be able to push through some of the tough times.
Yeah, no question. You know, Tracy, I can remember back too with you, your freshman year, and our very, very first practice of the year, And, you know, you're excited. You know, we did some fall conditioning, but then it's practice time. Now it's real practice for me. And I can remember walking down the stairs in Poly Pavilion, and I walked down those stairs in the corner from the Morgan Center. I walked down. I think we might have started at 8 o'clock on a Saturday maybe. I can't remember. But I remember walking down there, and at about 7:15, 7:30, you were the first guy there, period. You were the first guy dressed. I think your dad was rebounding for you too. Bob Murray, Bob and Candy. I love your parents. I love them. I love your parents. Bob's rebounding, and Tracy Murray is in a full sweat. You're in a full sweat. I don't know if you remember this or not.
I remember.
Very first practice of your freshman year. And I remember saying to myself, I was walking down the stairs. I was like, here we go. Here we go. Like, and I think some of these kids today are missing that. But the motor and the desire and, you know, just your energy, like, I'm here to play. I ain't screwing around. Like, I'm coming. It was evident from day one, Tracy. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I do. I do. The excitement to put on a UCLA uniform, to actually play for a school with that type of tradition. First day of practice, like, I couldn't sleep the night before. I'm ready to go. Let's go now. I think that type of excitement for the game is missing nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
Like, even with the current team, they're so tight and wound up.
Yeah.
They can't play their best basketball that tight.
No.
So I try to be, you know, I'm kind of on the outside looking in because I'm the broadcaster. I'm on the road with them. I have lunches with them and stuff like that. I'm at their pregame meals, but they're so wound up and so tight. I try to loosen them up a little bit. I try to, you know, crack a joke. You know, I look at one and be like, I would have lit you up. You know, just to talk a little trash to them. Give me some dialogue. Talk a little trash back. I was talking a little bit of trash to Eric Daly last night before the game, you know, and he came out and responded. And he looked at me and said, "You can't guard me."
That's great.
And I'm on the radio. But I love that because you got to have a passion and a love and an excitement and a happiness to play the game. I think that is so missing because of the pressure, the money, you know, the agents. You got to do this, you got to do that. Okay, you're not playing well. Sit out. It's like everything is so professional now that these guys have forgotten that this is a game and you got to have fun playing it. And you play your best when you're having fun.
No doubt. No doubt. So well said. I mean, Tracy, that is so well said, what you just said. So, here, okay, we're going to have a little fun, Tracy. Now, here, we're almost over, but I want to have a little fun with you because not only were you a great player, you have always been a student of the game. Like, you know the game. You know the game as well as anybody I've ever been around. You're a high IQ basketball guy. You've always been that way. When you played, you were that way. So let's have a little bit of fun right here. Okay.
Okay.
You're on the record. All right, here we go. We're going to start with the top of the heap. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
All right. Here we go. LeBron or Kobe?
Kobe.
Woo. All right, here's one for you.
No, let's get it to it. Let's not get it twisted. I like LeBron. I love LeBron. But you're talking about two killers.
Killers.
Those two are killers.
Killers, Tracy. Killers.
Mm-hmm. Killers.
They had a gear. They had a gear. I've said this many times, and obviously I love LeBron. He's a great player. But I've always my kids love him. I said if LeBron James, who is one of the greatest to ever play, don't get me wrong.
Played. Yep.
But if he had that killer like Kobe and LeBron, Kobe and Michael, it's over.
Yeah, wouldn't be a dispute.
Question. The story is okay. Here we go. Kareem or Shaq?
Kareem.
Why?
And I love Shaq. Shaq was my teammate. Shaq was the most dominant player. Kareem was the all-time leading scorer. He was the guy I looked up to as a kid. You know, Kareem had the most unstoppable weapon because they took away the dunk. So he had you knew it was coming and you couldn't stop it. You couldn't.
A shot that no one has ever been able to replicate. Like no one can even replicate his shot.
No one.
He could shoot a hook shot from the foul line.
And he was agile. he can move. Not saying Shaq couldn't move. Shaq was an unbelievable specimen just in McDonald's All-Americans when I played with him in the McDonald's All-American game. What he did in that game was he just set the tone what he was going to be for the rest of his life. But so Shaq is incredible. And he's my brother. So it ain't no shade to Shaq. It's just that Kareem was skilled. He had a left-handed hook. He had a right-handed hook. Kareem can shoot that sky hook from the three-point line.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. How far he was away from the basket. He was incredible.
He was incredible. All right, you got to start a team. You're the GM, and you got to pick a point guard, and you got to choose between Magic and Steph Curry.
Magic.
Why?
Because Magic makes everybody around him better and still gets you 19.
All right.
I love Steph. Steph's the best shooter in the world that's ever come along. Okay. He took shooting to another atmosphere, but Magic made everybody better.
All right, rank these three shooters right here. Rank them 1, 2, 3. Steph Curry, Ray Allen, and Reggie Miller.
Steph 1, Reggie 2, Ray Allen 3.
Wow, I like that.
Ray's shot was prettier. Reggie was more clutch.
Yeah.
And Ray hit a big shot in the finals.
Yes, he did.
I've seen Reggie hit too many big shots. And no disrespect to Ray. Ray was a champion. You know, Reggie, man, I had to guard that. And I had more problems with Reggie than Ray.
Reggie might have
pushed you, run off the screen, and that shot will be off before you can even think about putting a hand up.
The two guys that I can remember that moved without the ball, you were great at this, by the way, too. You were really good without the ball. But two guys that moved so well without the ball, when the ball wasn't in their hands, in my view, tell me if you agree with this or not, Steph Curry and Reggie Miller. Without the ball. Just movement without the ball to get themselves open.
Those two are the best. Number 3 was Rip Hamilton.
Oh.
I saw Mitch Richmond rip the jersey off of Rip Hamilton because he kept moving. And Mitch was tired of chasing him in practice. Ripped the jersey completely off of him.
Okay.
And Rip was like, man, Rip has this way where he's laughing, but it irritates you, right? He's like, man, what is he doing? But Rip would not stop moving. He's one of them that can make you look bad.
Yep. Because
he continuously moves.
Yep.
Steph is 1, Reggie's 2, Rip is 3.
Wow, that's amazing. All right. A healthy, you got to pick one. A healthy Larry Bird or Clyde Drexler?
Hoo-wee. Clyde was my teammate and mentor.
I know.
But Larry
I know.
Bird, man, Larry Bird, he's the one I missed playing against. I missed him by a year. I wish I got a chance to take some of that trash talk that he did. Larry Legend was unbelievable. Larry Bird, I was a Laker fan, so I hated Larry Bird. But boy, did I respect the hell out of him, man. He was a lot of people don't they're not going back and they're looking at enough Larry Bird tapes when they talk about some of the best to ever play. Larry Bird is up there, man.
Period. Period. Okay, we're gonna play Elijah Wan at the 4 right now. So now you got to choose between. You got to play Elijah Wan at the 4 or Tim Duncan. You only get one.
Elijah Wan.
Oh, why?
I witnessed it firsthand. I've never seen him destroy somebody like he did David Robinson, man. That was a clinic. And David Robinson was the MVP that year. Dave was playing his best basketball. I've never seen a clueless defender that was a great player. And you know that he was a great defender. He can move. He was agile.
Yeah.
I've never seen a one-sided butt kicking like I've seen in the Western Conference Finals like that. Hakeem was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yep.
And he was fasting.
Oh, how about that? He wasn't eating or drinking.
Fasting.
For his size, Tracy, to see somebody as agile, as nimble, his nimble and agileness was, I'm not sure there's been a big guy that was as elusive like that with his feet. It was crazy.
He could run that way. He had great lateral quickness.
Yep.
Played soccer. Another reason why, he kept that up without playing soccer was he would always challenge guards and wings after practice all the time. Hey, Trace, come out, let me test your lateral movement.
How about that?
That's him wanting to play one-on-one.
How about that? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well,
and as I say again, Tim Duncan is one of the best to ever do it, man. But Dream was a killer. Another killer.
No, he's a killer. He was a killer.
He's a killer.
Yeah, he was. Well, Tracy, this has been a lot of fun, man, and I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. And not only, Tracy, are you, when you talk about some of the UCLA greats.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them, and we used to talk about the North Carolina greats, the Duke greats, and Kentucky's greats. But you can take UCLA's greats. I don't care. You can line that group up with anybody in the country, and hands down, it's the best. I mean, and you're one of them. You are one of those guys, and I love you, man. You're not only a great player, you've always been a great person. And I love that you're around UCLA now. I think it's wonderful. So anyway, man, I loved it. I enjoyed this conversation. Tracy Murray, one of the all-time best to ever play the game. So thank you, Tracy, for being on the podcast.
Thanks again for having me, Coach. I love you, man.
You're the best. Tracy Murray.